Hi, my name is Melissa Wagenhofer. This is video journal number 1, September 23rd, 2018. This is Intro to Autism Spectrum Disorder, Fall of 2018, EDU 575. The student that I observed is a first grade student. He's 6 years old, and he will be referred to as Student A to protect his privacy and confidentiality laws. Question 1 is behavior characteristics of ASD that I have seen within my observations of Student A thus far. These are social communication, speech and language, function, learning, and repetitive patterns of behavior and his interests. Now, Student A's social behavior observed consists of his inability to share his thoughts or appropriately respond to another statement. Student A does not make eye contact or respond on topic, and when he's having a conversation, he looks around the room or he has wandering eyes. He responds to the conversation with random responses that are totally off topic. He does not exhibit cooperative play skills. He plays very well independently, but when he's in a setting with one or more of his peers, he becomes frustrated if toys are moved or if the kids take them or if they try to set them up in a different order, and he also finds difficulty sharing. He doesn't respond to play requests, so if a peer comes and asks him to play, he does not respond appropriately or he totally just ignores them. Nor does he seek out companionship to play either. His speech and language is verbal, so he is a verbal student. We do use PECS in the classroom, but he's able to respond only to prompting. So if you show them the image, he's able to respond. If you prompt him with a specific question, it's a 50-50 that he'll respond appropriately. He really likes to talk about his own personal interests. He doesn't talk about academics, social situations, his peers, his feelings, or his personal experiences. Several times while working one-on-one with staff, he has exhibited echolalia, if I'm pronouncing that right. It's where he mocks or he mirrors exactly what he's seeing, or the body language or the gestures of the instructional assistant or the teacher or the therapist. He does it perfectly. He doesn't understand the difference between inside voices and outside voices. So we have to consistently remind him that we're inside, we use a quiet voice. Or if we're outside, he'll try to whisper something and you have to be like, you have to talk louder, I can't hear you, we're outside. He has no intonation in his voice, so he speaks in a very monotone voice when he's happy, excited, angry, or upset. The only difference is his volume. Again, not understanding inside, outside voices, or when he's frustrated, he'll just yell or grunt. Student A's functionability, or things he's able to do independently, are limited. Remember, he's only 6 years old, so he's still learning. There's a lot of prompting. We use PECS. He does need assistant toileting, dressing, self-care, which is hygiene and health, and needs consistent supervision because he's not conscious of safety. So he'll climb on something really high, and then he'll kind of sit there and not realize that, oh, I need to get down, or this is not a safe situation. He needs prompting to use the restroom. He'll dance and squirm until somebody directs him or prompts him to use the restroom. He also needs prompting to, when he's finished, are you finished? He won't respond, and we'll have to kind of observe, and we'll have to remind him, okay, stand up, pull your pants up, or wipe, stand up, pull your pants up, flush toilet, wash your hands, etc. He has difficulty dressing himself. He cannot put his shirt on and off. He cannot put a jacket on and off independently, so he needs help with that. And he's not able to adapt to changes in his schedule. So if we change something, say for instance, Mondays are library days. If we have a holiday on a Monday, he comes to school on Tuesday, he's assuming that it's Monday and it's supposed to be library day because that's routine, and he doesn't go very well with that. He'll scream, yell, grunt, he'll have a fit, he'll have a meltdown. His learning ability is on point. He is extremely intelligent and he shows his knowledge. He doesn't verbalize it though. He does not verbally answer questions, but he can write his name, write math problems, solve them, or write his sight words when prompted. However, he needs things broken into chunks. So like all of his tasks, we can't give him a worksheet and say, okay, finish this. Or we can't give him a manipulative and tell him to build this. He needs step by step. And a lot, again, we use visual prompts. The PECS comes in very handy. So we must chunk it, and once he completes the first step, he needs prompting to move on to the next step. Student A exhibits several for repetitive behaviors. This is one of his niches. He does this consistently. So he does hand flapping, or he'll stare at his fingers when he's done flapping his hands. He'll look at them, and he'll look at them, and then we'll have to remind him, okay, up here, eyes on me, and then he'll put his hands down, look at you, and then he'll go back to it again. When he does this a lot, I'll have an instructional assistant remove him from the group, and she'll do circle time one-on-one with him. So that way he gets the content that I'm trying to provide, and the stimulation has been removed. So I think circle time for him is just too much stimulation, because the kids are singing, people are moving, and then he starts to stem, which is releasing that pent-up nervousness or anxiety. Let's see. Repetitive behaviors for him is lining up dinosaurs. He has a thing for dinosaurs. That's one of his niches. He will line them up. They will go from smallest to largest or largest to smallest. If one of the dinosaurs in the box is missing, he knows, and he will have a fit because he cannot express that, hey, one of the dinosaurs are missing, can we find it? He just freaks out. So if it's missing, he'll have a meltdown if somebody moves it. So say he turns around and somebody moves one dinosaur to the end, or takes one out of the middle, or moves the largest to the smallest end. He has a meltdown, and the day's over. He has difficulty when it's time to clean up and move on to another task. So if he's busy doing something, if you don't forewarn him or give him, we have 1 more minute, we're moving on. I use a timer in the classroom. It kind of helps them understand that this is going to move. We're going to be transitioning to something else. If we don't do that, then he has difficulty with that. The second problem of the question says, what have I learned thus far in the class that has helped me better identify different characteristics of those with ASD? Now, that's a really good question, only because I've worked with people who have ASD. I've worked with students from preschool all the way to high school. Right now I'm teaching a 1 through 4 combo at an elementary school, but I felt like as if I already had quite a bit of knowledge. Wrong. I'm always open to learn new things because I want to help my students, and this class so far has really helped me learn in depth some of the characteristics, so that way I know better how to help serve them. For example, I knew that those with ASD stemmed, but I didn't really understand why. I also learned that this behavior is normal before, because everybody that I work with, we're always trying to redirect it or try to prevent it from happening, which now I know that that's a normal process and it's actually important. We do it. For me, I wring my hands. So my hands, whenever I'm nervous, I'm always going like this. For my students, they might be flapping. Well, that's normal. I'm just a little different, and sometimes I can hide it. They're just more open and less discreet about it. It's important to help them get that out so that way they can move on to the next step. I truly do like this class because I'm learning specific information that will help me better serve my students. This will help me better meet their diverse individual needs within the classroom and even in the community. So I'm kind of grateful that I've taken this class and I'm learning what I'm learning. And that's it. Thank you. Have a good night.